how did this album come about? Well, a while back now, of course, my dad was in the den. He had a cassette player. He just liked to sing and play for the joy of it. He decided to put down some of the songs that he remembered from his childhood, listening to on the old wind-up gramophone, other songs that had influenced him, and of course, a big influence in his life was Tex Morton. Tex Morton, Buddy Williams, they were recording before my dad, and they were a huge influence on him. And in fact, there's 4 Tex Morton songs here. And in fact, Move Along Old Baldy, Good Old Droving Days, Rocking Ned, Old Rod Coe and Me.
Driving the mob over land to hear the stampede.
And there was about 10 to 15 years difference in age between my dad and Tex. So when Tex was a young man making his mark for the first time in the scene, my dad would have been a very impressionable young teenager who had dreams of following in his footsteps and becoming a cowboy singing star and leaving the Nulla Valley. So Tex was really an enormous influence on my dad. Buddy Williams recorded before Dad as well, and there's a classic Buddy Williams song here, Where the White-Faced Cattle Roam. And my mum was telling me a funny story. Both Shorty and Dad idolised Buddy Williams. So they decided to go to the Grafton show. There was a big rodeo there. They decided they'd go along and meet Buddy Williams. Well, they're only young kids, in their teens. They get there, and of course Buddy's getting ready to go on stage, and he wasn't that friendly actually, so they were a bit crestfallen. And they thought they'd come all this way to meet Buddy. Anyway, they hopped in a cab to go back into town. Apparently the cab driver said to him, got all dressed up in their western gear, you two young fellas, you want to give this all away. He said, there's no future in this sort of caper. He said, you should get a proper job or something, So as they both went back to Kempsey thinking quite crestfallen, really, So, but anyway, my dad still idolised Buddy, and later on, of course, they both had touring shows and used to cross paths here and there.
Not belong to you, but to the good old roving days.
From the opening track, Move Along Old Baldy, it's crystal clear. They're playing. I have to read you a bit what Mum says about his guitar playing, because my dad's playing with the old thumb pick, and he's doing all the runs. He used to relish this, actually, showing off with all the old guitar runs. And on this album, it's as clear as anything, and he's yodeled. When he goes into the first song, the guitar, then the yodel, the voice is crisp and clear. And Mum said here on the back, she says, this is where you hear Slim in some of his most relaxed and happy moments. You will also hear him playing one of his beloved guitars, and showing his mastery of the old thumb-pick guitar playing style. He was a very rhythmic player, and that's all the band members would tell you that over the years. With steady tempo, having a lot of fun using the old-time guitar runs used by the old players who inspired him as a teenager, and you'll hear all that. And it's interesting, you'll hear the different sound on the guitars too, because that's all they had on some of the recordings, just guitar and voice. They filled in with the yodel, so the yodels on this album is so varied. And the guitar playing, you can hear the different sound, because the old fellas used to they'd sort of strum and right up the neck and get a muted sound, and then they go down here and you get that rich, really loud sound, and they'd vary it.
I want to ride again out on the open plain.
It really is like essential Slim Dusty. And you really hear the clarity and the purity of my dad's voice. It's so crystal clear, the yodeling, the playing. It's a real joy to listen to. And obviously, it was a joy for him to put it down.
I'll make a dam for two, just like the ones we knew back in the...
Slim recorded them one time when he was working out in the back block, mowing the lawn, in fact, and taking smokos. So he'd just sit down and rattle off a couple of songs on the old machine. Most likely, this was in the middle of the late 90s. And from that little cassette, the songs were transferred straight to CD. And yeah, they were never meant for public listening. But here they are. And it's a happy album.
As the brand leaves its mark, and I can visualize when I just close my eyes the desert sunsets.